Well, congratulations on this film. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't even know where to start because there's just so much, and also it's so delicious to go in there and not know anything about the film because you make all these wonderful discoveries. First of all, just tell me about your journey making this film.
Oh, you mean like where I got the idea or whatever?
Yeah.
Basically, film ideas come to me in images or whatever, and so I had an image in my head of this hunter-gatherer figure playing cards with like this death-like figure, sort of like a Seventh Seal almost type of image or something, but the cards they were playing with were tarot cards, but they were gambling with tarot cards. And so that was the first idea I had, and I thought that'd be like, oh, that's a really interesting image. And I just kept thinking about that image, and then I said, well, who's the hunter character? And then just started building back, and who's this shaman character? Be like, oh, it's pretty cool. And I'm really into like Jungian psychology and mythology and stuff like that, so started to build these like sort of archetypical characters. And so it came out of that, and just built, expanded, and then I came up with this sort of Virgin Mother character, and blah, blah, blah. And all that kind of thing.
And they immediately thought of me.
I totally thought
You could play this part well.
No, we had an incredible meeting.
Yeah.
It was just really
well,
magical.
well, tell us about the meeting then. How
We met in Venice, and we just had this really great, just having coffee. But all these weirdos started walking by that for some reason I had personal connections with. Like an old friend I hadn't seen in like 20 years. Another guy who was like this weird, just funny meeting.
Yeah, I think we just connected really quickly, and yeah, for sure. And that was the thing, like meeting Dave, like you, like automatically when you're thinking like this world, like more like stuff that I knew him about or what he's known for is more comedic type stuff or whatever. But meeting him, talking to him, like I believe this guy in this world, and he has like. Dave has like a really sort of unique energy, you know, and he's also very likable. And those are two great qualities, you know what I mean? Especially like in a post-apocalyptic world, like having this unique vibe is like, I think, important. And also being likable, obviously, is important in your protagonist. So like those two things really leaped out at me. And I was like, this guy, he's gonna be, and then we bonded over a lot of stuff too as well. And all that, yeah.
Then he's like, you are going to have to do all this stuff. You have to trim down and do all this. He sent me to a survivalist thing in like Utah, like the craziest survivalist place. 5 days, 2 days without food.
And did you have to do like a cleanse or one of those?
No, just like hiking every day. Crazy. I mean, it was sort of like a cleanse. It was literally like, you know, not like eating for 2 days.
Skinning animals.
Yes, I skinned an animal. You learn how to make a fire. You like learn how to make a tent.
Yeah, total like in the desert alone type thing. And he's working out like crazy. I'd be getting pics there like, look at these arms.
It's great to have that kind of motivation because you really just like step it up. You start working out for like 6 hours a day.
Yeah, and you're putting a lot of trust in him because, I mean, for somebody to be that open and say, I'll go and do whatever you want me to do to prepare for this role. I mean, there has to be a lot of trust there.
Yeah, absolutely. He wrote an incredible script, and his first film was so brilliant, and I was just like, man, I'd love to work with you. It was really, that part was an easy decision.
And stylistically, it's so interesting, too, because I think anybody else who would try to tackle a post-apocalyptic with so many complex, so little details that are in the film, probably could have made like a glossy Hollywood-type film, but your approach is so almost like European, and it's so, like, there's so many, like, quiet moments to prepare for the intensity of some of the other moments. So tell me about your influences.
Well, I mean, I'm like just a big film geek, you know what I mean? So my influences are very, 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 very many. I just like watch tons and tons of movies. But I think that when I was like making a movie or, or shooting something, I think you just let it just organically happens. And like, it's like you have to, the motivation is the story and the script and everything. And so I think like when you're making a movie, like everything has to go in a single direction. This is how I think about it. So everything with your script, the acting, the visuals, everything has to point in the same direction. And so you just like, you have something in your mind that you want to get. For me, I have like a very simple sentence or something in my head that everything aims towards that. So that just motivates all my decision making. So the look of the film, everything, you know what I mean, comes out of this like very simple sort of thing, you know, in my head. You know, that I won't ever tell anybody.
So tell me a little bit more about the mythology. I also feel like there's kind of like a biblical thing going on. What stories influenced you as a
I'm
kid?
definitely personally I'm influenced by mythology a lot, like all sorts, like definitely biblical stories, you know, definitely a lot of sort of medieval, like tarot and alchemy, that kind of thing was that was probably very, very the most influential on me. I would say it's probably different like medieval mythology and stuff, you know. So definitely like the archetypes of the tarot and the archetypes of like, so there's like a psychologist named Carl Jung, who's dead now, but like he wrote this great book of the symbols of alchemy, and that was pretty influential on me and stuff like that, you know.
And you speak about him, and he was always also about the connection between us and how we're all connected.
The collective unconscious.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So how much about that stuff did you know?
Not too much.
Yeah. You don't talk about that stuff like when you're making it, like you're just like, you don't talk about that. That's just like, for me, that was just my inspiration.
Yeah.
It's not like you're like, oh yeah, let's talk about these archetypes.
Yeah, he didn't say read the book. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you're just like, you know, when you're talking to, you know, whoever's performing or whatever, you're talking about performance. You're trying to make a real person. That person has to imagine to be in the situation and reacting to their situation. They don't want to be thinking about a bunch. You know what I mean? And same thing with your DP. You just tell them like, put the light there, put the light there. Da-da. You don't want to be talking about some crap. You know what I mean? It's just like,
there was no book there for him to read. Joseph Campbell.
So tell me about the other characters and what was it like working with them, because I mean, film is such a team effort too. I mean, you're an incredible actor, but you also have to rely on other people to really get the best performances.
Yeah, he found great actors. Lily Cole, Gorm were just like.
Yeah, everybody did a great job.
Yeah.
Everybody, I think, really did. And not only did everybody do a great job, everybody was so cool to work with. Like, everybody was so cool to work with. So, yeah, and everybody did a great job, you know.
He went to Detroit for like months, but found these like insane artists to build these crazy sets, and they were all like these hippies that smelled really crazy, and they all lived in this like commune. And,
Totally.
Oh, it was intense, but it was fun and wild. Like we went to their house, and they had like a chandelier of like 100 chandeliers that you could spin, and it was just bizarre.
I just remember, that's kind of an interesting story. Because I was in Detroit or whatever. We had a production designer, and they're doing stuff, and I was just like, I don't know, seems kind of like whatever, and they were cool and everything. But then I was just like going around Detroit, and I met these crazy artists, and I'm like, that's my fucking movie right there, you know. And just their whole life was my movie, and it's like just like recreate this stuff, you know. And so brought them on, and they didn't even have titles on the movie. Like everybody's like, what are they doing? I'm like, I don't know. They just got to be. And then there's this one chick named Monica who's like did a great job, and she just got more and more and more and more responsibility as like doing costumes, doing set, doing props, doing all like it's like has everything she did was so cool.
She cut my hair.
Yeah, exactly. Like everything, you know, like she was just like so talented and like, you know, and so just she just had to start to get more and more and more and more responsibility, you know. So
tell me a little bit more about Detroit, the city itself, because unfortunately you don't have to do much, because Detroit is such an interesting city that it does look kind of post-apocalyptic.
Yeah, totally.
So.
But you were gonna say something?
No.
I love Detroit. It's like it's a really cool city. Like I had a great time there. I love it, and it did have a perfect look. That's basically why we shot there. Is I was just like going through like photos. Originally, when I first had the idea, I was thinking maybe like the desert or something. But then I thought, well, that's a little, stereotypical, you know. And it did, like I felt like being within like a ruins of a city would be more realistic. That's what it'd be. It would be a bunch of trash and stuff around and collapsed buildings. That's what people would live amongst, you know. And so, and I was thinking about like Dark Ages in Rome and stuff like that. And so, I was just like looking at this photo book of like the ruins of Detroit, and I'm like, this is amazing. Like, this is where we got to go. And I went and did location scout, and I was actually working with some other dude had just gone there that I knew that was working on the film, And he's like, man, I was just up there. It's amazing. You got to go check it out. So I went up there, checked it out. I was like, yeah, this is where it's got to be shot. And then went up there, and it's a great city. It's a great American city, I think.
It's funny to see him walk around. He's like, "You're not gonna believe this." And we go into these places, and they're like completely caved in buildings, which are like beautiful the way the decay has like set in. But he's there like, "Look at this destruction!" Like, I don't know. It's just so interesting. He was so passionate about it.
Yeah, totally.
We're like walking through asbestos buildings.
Totally. It was like totally not safe. It was totally not safe.
Naked, yeah, totally not safe. Like one time, he was in one building, like they did some pickup truck pull
Yeah,
out, and there were
totally.
like these dogs, and the guy showing him around was like, "This is bad. We have to hide." He like hid, and then they like were going after him, and they had to stay out. Like, intense, crazy stuff.
Yeah, totally.
Gunshots.
Yeah, it was insane, totally. I mean, there was some crazy stuff. I actually got tetanus there. I mean, there was some crazy
man.
stuff that went down shooting in Detroit. I'll tell you the truth.
Yeah, he did. He got I got like fiberglass in my back.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Strings
I mean, there was a lot of blood spilled on this
Yeah,
movie.
well,
It was
that
like
helps
blood, sweat,
add
tears.
to the whole.
Yeah, this thing was all about passion. There's no question. It was all about passion.
It helped you get into character, right? To the
For
right
sure,
frame
yeah.
of mind.
Yeah, totally. But yeah, Detroit. No matter, it was a tough shoot for sure. And I put this poor son of a bitch through hell. You know?
Maybe eat rats. No.
But it was great. It was a great time for sure.
So what is next for you? What is?
I'm working on some. I don't want to talk. I'm working on a couple scripts or whatever. You know. And this guy, I don't know.
I just did a kids show, Sigmund and the Sea Monsters for Amazon, which is fun. Like, I
Yeah.
love those kind
Did you
silly
kind of need a
stuff.
break from the darkness, or?
I love doing independent films, especially incredible scripts like that. So, no, whenever I get a chance to do something really sort of from the heart.
Well, congratulations, you guys.
Yeah,
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Thanks for being in Dallas.
Yes.
First time. I'm
Really?
looking forward to seeing what it's all about.
Oh, okay. Well, hope we can live up to that.
Yeah, totally.